Hey guys, welcome back to the Red Circle Podcast with your hosts, Vanessa and Ed.
Vanessa and
Bring.
Ed. She cooled herself and then she did it.
I feel like we need music to make that pop.
Da, 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 da. Like, what's the sound that would go with it? Okay, so today we're going to talk about some current events.
Okay.
We might do some, the other one that I wanted to talk about with you, and I had mentioned this to you, but I haven't done the research. I've done it in the past, but I need to have it prepared because it's a bad video.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So we'll do that one in the future.
A little bit of a darker
Yeah.
conspiracy theory.
Yeah. This guy named Aleister Crowley. He's pretty ugly.
Never heard of him. So I'm excited to learn more.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't bring your kids to that episode. So if you see that episode coming up next.
Don't.
Yeah.
Keep
warning.
it in the earbuds.
Yeah. Keep it in the earbuds. Go to your room. Be prayed up before you watch that video. It's not going to be fun.
Okay.
All right. So a couple things. I was thinking about this the other day, and maybe we can give everybody a price break.
Oh.
Of everything that's at right now.
Yeah.
So right now, spot gold is right under $2,000.
Okay. For an ounce. Okay.
Per ounce, so it's $19.92 as it sits today, and today is April 24th. Okay. Silver is $25.38.
Okay.
Platinum, nobody cares. And Bitcoin is right at, let it update, $27,320.
I went down a little bit more.
Which is good.
Yeah. Every time it goes down, I'm like, we can get it at a discount still.
Yeah, which is good. One thing I did want to mention that I didn't talk about the last time is why gold and silver are very much manipulated.
Okay.
There's a huge place where the prices, that's where we get that price from, is from like the stock market.
Oh, okay.
Okay, where it's traded publicly on the stock market, hence ETFs. Now, if you go to the store and you try and buy an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver at that price, you're not going to spend that price. You're going to spend a premium over that spot price. Okay, and depending on the quality of the coin that you're buying, the more you'll spend.
Okay.
So, like we showed that the other time when we were trying to buy, go to Amazon or some coin place and try and buy a gold coin, you're not going to spend under $2,000.
No.
Go buy a silver coin, you're not going to spend, what was it, $25?
Yeah, something like that.
$25. It went up, so it used to be at $22. So most of it is traded on the stock market. The biggest silver is SLV. And that's the ETF, and it's owned by Goldman Sachs. And supposedly they have a vault with all of their silver in there.
Okay.
The truth is that the amount of silver that's in their vault compared to the amount that's traded on paper is 385 to 1.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the amount of gold to the amount of gold that's traded on the stock market is 121 to 1.
Okay.
Okay. So they literally multiplied the supply.
It's just weird how fake everything is.
Yeah.
Like when you don't realize things like that, you look at the stock market and you're like, yeah, that's what things are worth. Or gold and silver and all that stuff. Like nothing is tangible. Nothing's real.
Did I ever mention on this show why I would never invest? Well, not never, but currently I wouldn't invest in the stock market.
You did. You gave an example of Tesla.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound right?
And I talked about the profits to earning ratio.
Yes, that ratio. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And that made total sense.
Okay.
Because it was like, okay, it's not what it's
ridiculous.
worth. Yeah.
There's no way that it's worth that much.
But you think like, oh, Tesla, that's worth a lot.
I'll own a percentage of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
it must be worth that because that's what
Yeah.
people are paying for it or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
It's like I'm selling you a Tesla car that sells for $100,000, but you're gonna buy one share for $50,000.
Yeah,
And the car's only worth $100,000.
yeah,
It can't be worth
exactly.
more.
Yeah.
Now, they always say that the stock market is front looking.
Mm.
It's always in the future
Mm-hmm.
of what it is, but
Mm.
I don't buy that. You know,
Mm-mm.
you buy that, I'll throw the Golden Gate in free, right? So if you really think about it, if the supply was shrunk by 385 times,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then the of silver, and then the supply of gold was shrunk 121 times,
Mm-hmm.
you would definitely be in a different price point.
Yeah.
It's all
It's not
supply and
real.
demand. It's all
Yeah.
supply and demand.
Yeah.
You know.
Hmm.
So I do think that there's a high probability that we will go back to a gold standard.
Mm-hmm. With all the things going on with money,
Mm.
with China, with BRICS, with all of that. Yeah.
It's serious.
It is.
I've read both sides though. So there's one side of saying that the U.S. supremacy in the dollar is very strong,
Mm.
and then that people. Okay, this is the argument: is that people won't adopt a new currency until they can adopt it.
Mm.
So kind of saying it like this way. So even though the Bretton Woods Agreement happened,
Mm.
the adoption of the dollar around the world had already happened.
Mm-hmm.
They just formalized it on paper.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
And so they're saying the same thing about the destruction of the dollar, that they have to destroy it around the world first
Mm-hmm.
before they can formally destroy it on paper.
Mm.
So right now what they're doing is they're trying to do it on paper,
First.
but it doesn't matter that,
Yeah.
if I own a factory in Taiwan, I'm not going to put my money in the yuan or the yen. I'm not going to put it in Chinese currency because there's really nobody else that the world trusts with having the world reserve currency yet.
That's a great point
Mm-hmm.
because the yen doesn't sound
Yeah,
appealing. And just because the leaders of that country want it to be the main currency doesn't mean the people will adopt it quickly.
Yeah, they can't force all those companies and the big companies that run the world
Mm-hmm.
to do that immediately.
Yeah.
Because it will destroy their company.
Yeah. And then they're going to need to have a ton of yen printed. You know, like you're going to have to do like maybe even like a buyback type of thing to make it happen. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so there's going to be some unraveling,
Mm-hmm.
and then some restructuring and repositioning before it happens. So it's not going to happen this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
only way that it would, I think, right, is that war.
Mm-hmm.
War could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd be forced to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're not going to go get dollars.
Yeah.
And then, or a collapse happen, a worldwide collapse. If that worldwide collapse happens, which is possible,
Mm-hmm.
then all cards are off the table because who cares at this point? We're all going through hyperinflation at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the idea. The hyperinflation or hyperdeflation or a what is it called, a stagflation.
Mm-hmm.
If stagflation were to happen, then we would all be in the same boat.
Yeah.
It's just like, whatever, we're gonna try something new.
Yeah.
Just to start, just to save ourselves.
Yeah.
When the boat's sinking, like, we're up for any opinion. You know what I mean?
Exactly. One thing that was shocking to me is how many more countries are talking about joining BRICS. There's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot.
It is a lot, and that's the one thing about my wife. She was it really bothered her. You know what I mean? When I was telling her these things, she did not. She can't handle it the same way I think that other people can. And some people are just not made for it.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't want to worry about those things, and that's why
Yeah.
she doesn't research it.
Yeah.
I'm weird. I can be happy as a clam
Yeah.
and understand that the world is ending and that people are trying to kill us with our food and like,
And all of that.
you know what I mean?
It
And
doesn't bother me as much, I think, because I've been in the conspiracy theory world for so many years, and I've listened to people talk about things, and I've realized that I just have to sit back and just watch and do what's best for us in this moment and pray and really be discerning. Because some people think, like, I can't listen to Don Bongino. I can't listen to him because the sky's falling every time he talks. Everything's falling apart. I know people that know, and I know what his job used to be, and I know that he knows people, but he's always. I don't think he's trying to scare people, but it's like he's trying to scare people, you know. And so
he's very Alex Jonesy.
yes, exactly.
He's like a conservative Alex Jones.
Yeah. And it's just, I can't listen to him specifically because it's always the sky is falling. And, anyways, I'm just trying to be as discerning as possible. With COVID, I knew. COVID, I was watching it in November. And in January, I was buying extra stuff. And by February, I had all my supply ready. Like, I knew. And people were looking at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, I just know. And that's the only time I've ever known. And with all this stuff going on, God kind of told me 2025 is when we need to be ready. So I kind of...
Wait. Yeah. How did he tell you?
Great question. I think about this stuff
because it
a lot.
hit you right there, right when you said it.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You got emotional, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's with my prep and with all my things, I like to plan. I like to have goals because it's expensive too. Like, to get goats is expensive. To have chickens and coops and all this is expensive. And so I like to have a plan. And as I was planning things out, 2025 came to mind. 2025 is when we need to be ready. And not necessarily that stuff's going to happen, but maybe the market's going to turn and it's going to be hard to get supplies. I don't know. But I just know for us, we need to be ready by 2025. And so I kind of filter everything through that number so that I don't panic, because I just feel like 2025, I still have a couple of years. We have this plan and that plan, and it's going to be okay.
You know what's fascinating about that time is that November of 2024
is election.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And probably we won't know the answer to the election until 2025.
That's interesting. You're right. Isn't that weird?
I don't know why we can't figure out who wins.
We can figure it out. They just switch things and change things and fake things.
That was okay. That leads me to my next thing.
Okay.
So Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News today.
He got fired? I have not heard that. Wait. Why?
Well,
how? Tucker?
The speculation
is Fox News.
He is Fox News. Like, what else are you gonna watch on Fox News?
Okay.
The speculation is because of the court case with Diebold, the election machines, counting machines.
Yeah.
Fox News and Diebold settled the lawsuit, I think, this weekend.
And then, that probably was a part of the settlement.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That it was like, okay.
That's BS. Cowards. I know Fox News isn't a good guy either, though. They're all part of the same machine.
Yeah. But it's good. I'd rather have Tucker on the outside.
Yeah, have him free to say whatever he wants.
Because to me, I trust him more on the outside.
Yeah, 100%.
I trust him more now that he got fired.
Yeah. Ooh, because he's not a part of the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would always like, I don't know about Tucker.
Yeah.
You know, he's real white.
Yeah. Those white people.
It's like Glenn Beck is like, he's real pasty.
He's pasty and Mormon, and I love me a Mormon,
yeah,
but
you do love you a Mormon, literally.
I am married an Exmo.
An Exmo.
Hashtag Exmo. Look that up on TikTok.
You should do a whole thing on that, and then I'll do one on Jehovah's Witnesses.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I've really
Because I know a lot about Jehovah's.
Because I love
and then
his family.
we can bring Wallace on, and then he can do one
Yes.
on the Branch Davidians.
Oh my gosh.
We could do all those.
Yes, that would be really,
I don't know
cool.
any Scientologist person.
No.
And then we can bring Nina on, and she could talk about witches.
Yeah.
Because she was a Wicca.
Yeah. Was she?
Yeah, she told us she was.
I know that she dabbled.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. That would be cool. Because there's so many things, especially the things that happen in the temple, that you're not allowed to talk about. Like, it's all secret, and you're not allowed to talk about it. And then even in the vows that you take and the things that you say that if you talk about it, they have hand symbols like this.
You know what's funny?
Like this.
You know what's funny?
What?
Those two hand symbols
are
masonry symbols.
Yes, I believe it. 100%. And
the first degree of masonry, you do the ear to ear.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. See, and then they say, so then there's another thing when you go to the temple and you do different things, you have to know like special handshakes to get into different parts of heaven. And people say that those are also
because in heaven we handshakes. Have our hands, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And God's it just seems ridiculous. It comes up and you're like, "What's up, man? Can I get in?" Like what? How does that make sense?
He knows the Vulcan handshake.
He knows the handshake.
The live long and prosper handshake.
He can get in, And
what if your hands like deformed, right?
Aren't we perfect in heaven?
And you can't do the certain handshake because your hand's deformed, so you can't do it. You know what I mean?
And you're like, God, no! I learned it on Earth. I remember. Yeah.
That's so bad.
And they're Mason handshakes.
You want to hear something crazy? Is that the founder of Mormons was a Mason? Mason.
I believe
so was the founder of the Jehovah's Witnesses Church. And so was the founder of the Seventh-day Adventists.
Okay, and see, the thing with all of that, what I've learned...
And they all came from the same movement.
I believe it. Everything that Satan's doing is trying to distract us from the truth.
100%.
So why not... And I feel bad saying that Mormons are a distraction from the truth.
Such a distraction.
Because especially
when I'm trying to watch a movie and you knock on my door.
Can you guys go away?
Actually, I love it when they knock.
Because then you talk. Have you ever converted somebody?
Not a Mormon. I've converted quite a few Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm on the blacklist.
They're like, don't go there.
Yeah, they don't come to my house.
That's
they'll
nice.
go to my neighbor, and then they'll go to my other neighbor, and they won't come to my house.
I wonder what they tell the people about you.
It's because I converted too many people. There's just a list.
Yeah.
And my grandpa put me on that list.
Oh.
So if I move, I won't be on the list.
Oh.
Yeah. Every time I move, my grandpa would always ask me what my address was.
No. So that he could put you on the list.
Because I think I embarrassed him.
Oh.
Because I would convert people.
That's good though. Your Heavenly Father is not embarrassed. He's proud.
Yeah, and then he would be like, every time he'd be like, "What's your address?" And then I figured it out. I was like, "That's why." And I was standing outside in the Jehovah's Witness and went to one house and then went to the other house.
And you were like waiting.
And I was like,
"No, not me today."
Hey
guys, come over here. I got some candy.
The one thing I would say is that imagine that Christians had the same faith and the same discipline and the same commitment to their belief that a Jehovah's Witness and a Mormon does.
I agree.
We would convert everybody.
I agree. Well, and then it's hard to say that stuff, what I was just saying about Mormons too, because they do go out and they talk to people, they convert people, they go all, their mission, all of that stuff. And I know that they love God a lot. There's just different man-made things that they have in their belief system that are not from God. And if it's not from God, who's it from?
It's the same. I think the way that people get sucked into these things is the same way people get sucked into Masonry. Or the same way that kids get sucked into gangs.
Yeah.
They just want a sense of community and family and friends.
Yeah.
That's what everybody wants.
100%. And the
It's not
Mormons are
rocket science.
so sweet.
And the church is really bad about doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like there was a guy at the church who told me he was gonna go become a Mason. And I was like, dude, you're gonna go worship Lucifer.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, that's not true. I was like, it is.
Yeah.
All of those religions are based around the Gnostic theology. At the end of the day, they're all Gnostic. And Gnostic gospel is that Lucifer freed the people from the prison of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
That's the Gnostic gospel.
Yeah.
And he freed them with
knowledge. Yeah.
And that's the big deception.
Yeah.
But they won't tell you that until you get to the top levels. They won't tell the Jehovah's Witnesses that.
Yeah.
Very few Jehovah's Witnesses will ever hear this because they're not on the inner circle. You know what I mean? You only get to the upper room and then they teach you about channeling. All of the watchtowers are channeled by people in the upper room. They literally go into a trance. And then they start auto-writing.
Ew.
And that's how they write the Jehovah's Witness books.
Really?
Yeah, the Watchtower. Yeah.
Ugh, that sounds scary.
So you know how they hand you those magazines?
Yeah.
It's literally a channeled book.
Ugh.
You know, I think they're the #1 printer of documents of like anything in the world.
Ugh.
Is the Watchtower.
That's hardcore. That sounds scary. I don't like it.
Yeah,
Who are they channeling?
They the demons and fallen angels, God knows what. You know what I mean? But that's how they do it. So it's spiritualism. It's all spiritualism. You know.
Yeah.
It's like the guy Russell, not Russell, Joseph Smith. The way he found the golden tablets is he grabbed his hat and he'd stick it in there and he had rocks in his hat, and then
Yeah.
and then he had a vision like.
Yeah.
You're really gonna go start a religion with this guy looking in a hat with rocks in?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things, and there's a lot of good things too. Like they help people, their sense of community. Like they're very generous people.
Oh, yeah.
They're just really, really sweet people. But the parts of the belief system just are not. God didn't say it.
Exactly. Yeah. The big thing about all of these things is it's truth with a little bit of leaven.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
So they wrap the truth with just a little bit of leaven. You know what I mean? You don't need a lot of rat poison to kill somebody. You know what I mean? If you go find rat poison, go to the store and find rat poison. Even rat poison itself is very small amount of rat poison. Right?
Yeah.
Because then the rat's not going to eat it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're just like, hey, this is like straight
poison. This smells nasty. This is suspicious.
Yeah, the devil's not going to come out like,
yeah,
follow me.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to do that because you're not going to go follow him. You're like, maybe not, bro.
Yeah, I'm good.
You know, I'll go over here and ride a bike with a tie on.
Yeah. And if you look up on TikTok, Exmo, #Exmo, they'll talk about all the things that they do in the temple. They get special names, and you're not allowed to tell the person your special name, and God's going to call you by this special name.
But they all get the same name
every
day.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That day, everyone's going to be Sarah. But they don't know that. They think it's a special name that God gave them. No, it was the day that you're there, you know, and just a lot of interesting
I wonder if there's
things.
a calendar in the whole year.
There is.
Just have like 365 names.
There is.
Each day you just...
Yeah, it's scheduled.
What's today again, guys? This is Sarah Day?
Is this a Sarah Day?
Wasn't that?
Everyone's Sarah today?
Okay. All right.
Cool. I forgot.
What if it's a guy? What's that? It was Tom?
Tom?
Okay.
All right. Cool. Yeah. It's just, and it's weird. It's just interesting. Why? You know, like, why do you need that special name? Why do you, I don't know.
And that's the thing about Christianity is there's none of that.
No.
And I think that's why it's funny is like God doesn't do it where there's like the secret knowledge behind the door.
Yes.
And, like, you have to
Jesus came.
Yeah.
For all of us.
Yeah.
You don't need any of that secret stuff. There's no secret knowledge. You just need your Bible. You need to read your Bible. You need to pray. Yeah.
You don't get to heaven by secret knowledge.
Mm-mm.
You don't get to heaven with secret handshake or a bunch of rituals that you had to do. You don't get to heaven because he did. You get to heaven because of what he did.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
That's it. Yeah.
You can't boast, just like Paul says. And if anybody could boast, Paul could boast. But he's like, I don't boast except I boast in Christ. Christ alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And like the special underwear. Oh, God. I just thought that all my sister-in-laws wore Spanx. Because you can see, like, the garments sometimes. Like, if they're wearing a skirt, you might
do they still get to wear bras?
Yeah.
Underneath the special underwear?
I don't know. There is a layering situation, and there's a proper one, and I don't know what it is. But I just thought, like, oh, they all wear T-shirt Spanx.
It's like a onesie?
No, it's like
like a jumper suit?
No, it's 2 pieces.
Oh, it's 2 pieces.
But it's, at least that's what I've seen.
I wonder what the markup is on the jumpsuit.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem to be very expensive.
Yeah, like if you have to get it from like the.
I think you do have to get it from a specific spot.
Yeah, it's like these guys that sell like dirt from the River Jordan or something.
Exactly.
You're gonna get special anointing, or this prayer shawl. That was prayed by Jews on the Wailing Wall.
Yes.
I don't think so. So we're not gonna sell you guys any of this holy oil.
No.
Or holy water or dirt or anything. Yeah. We might sell you a T-shirt.
Yeah, a fun T-shirt.
Yeah. T-shirt with like I don't know, what would be our first cool T-shirt?
Maybe something with aliens.
Do you like me some alien conspiracies?
Yeah. I don't know, something fun. But not special underwear, for sure.
Talking back about Trump.
Okay.
It's funny because Trump, the thing that got me Trump to become a big Trump fan was one video. And it was, who was the Speaker of the House? And he's a friend of Trump during Clinton. What's his name? Gingrich. Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich was being interviewed on Fox News. And they asked Newt Gingrich, why is it that the Republicans and the Democrats are attacking Donald Trump? And he says, oh, that's easy. It's because he's uninitiated. He used the word initiated. And I was like, did he just say initiated? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like,
okay.
Yeah. She's like, he's not part of the groups. He's an outsider. He's like, we all know him, but he's not initiated. So we don't know what he's going to do. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the dirt on him. If they had any dirt on him that was substantial, they would have found it already.
Yeah. Because they're throwing everything at him to try to
make it stick. They're making up stories. Yeah. They're just making up stories. He's like a Russian spy. Well, actually, no. That's the Biden. He's like, oh,
allegedly.
He's funneling money through his businesses. Oh, no, that's the Clinton Foundation. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're trying.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he raped all these girls. Oh, no, actually, that's Bill Clinton. Okay, crap. Oh, he's got ties to Epstein. Oh, no, actually, that's everybody else.
Yeah, and then there's video of him talking crap about Epstein and how he's not allowed to go to his clubs. And this is a long time ago. And I don't know. And I
haven't seen that video.
Yeah, it did seem like they were friendly.
Like they knew each other.
For like a little while. And then at some point,
he figured out who he was.
And he wasn't allowed to go to like Mar-a-Lago and different places.
Epstein's such a humongous, crazy story. Because Epstein has ties to like the Mossad. Which is like the secrets, like the MI6 of like Israel, and he was like a secret intelligence officer for Israel, right?
Like gathering information for them.
And then compromising people. That's what they were. That's what he was
Oh
doing.
my
So
gosh.
that's Epstein. And
Jeez, that's
Epstein's and
crazy.
Epstein was not the main person.
Mm-mm.
It was Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh.
Her father was the head of all intelligence in Israel.
Oh, dang. I know that he was like in charge of a TV station or something, wasn't it? Or a news station?
Yeah, it's fascinating to see. Now, I don't know. That's the one thing I'm not sure about is how Israel is going to play out it and is the Israel that's in power now actually the good Israel or the bad Israel?
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
The one thing is the Bible says is to, pray for Israel and support Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pro Israel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and if Israel turns out to be bad, well, I'm sure America's bad. Like, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna risk it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna risk it.
We're just talking bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's probably bad people in every country.
Yeah.
But like I kind of like Netanyahu.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy he's back in power. I didn't like the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure that the Antichrist is going to come from Israel. Now, I don't know exactly when or how or what. Like end time stuff, we don't really know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't really know. Like I'm sure the people during the Black Plague thought it was the end.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people during World War II, World War I thought it was the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you were in, Poland in World War II, you were like,
and that
this
keeps
is
it
the
in
end.
perspective.
This is the end. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing any worse than this.
Yeah, and then it kept going. It wasn't the end.
Or the early church in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure they thought it was the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you have the Crusades.
Yeah.
The Muslims taking over a lot of Christendom.
Mm-hmm.
The Crusades is a whole other fascinating thing. It's funny that the American history has made the Crusades out to be the most evil thing ever in history.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an argument on the other side of that. That it was the only time that all of the Christian religions of the world band together to fight against Muslims, radical Muslims.
Oh. Okay.
Right?
All right.
And the radical Muslims were forcing conversion on the rest of the world, right?
Okay.
That's what they were doing. And the Christian says no.
Yeah.
The Pope got behind it. The Anglican, and the there wasn't really like as much of these different denominations at the time, but there were a few different sects, right? You had like the two different types of popes, and then you had the Orthodox Church, like in Russia, like literally all the way from Russia all the way to the UK. All of those European countries joined together to fight against the Muslims.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You always hear...
It's like the biggest scar in American history, in world history, or church's history.
Just that they like went through and just tried to violently erase other religions and other ideas and kind of force Christianity down people's throats.
No.
That's what I think I remember learning in school. I've never looked into it more than what I learned at school.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Now I gotta do a deep dive.
Yeah, it like I'm sure stuff happened. You know what I mean?
That were not good.
You're talking about men, taking over places. Like I'm sure they did stuff. Just like the American soldiers over there in the Middle East did stuff too. Right? We saw all those leaked videos. Really bad stuff.
Yeah.
And but the people that were in charge and the mission behind it was more not just to take back the Holy Land, but to push back against this Muslim thing, because they were going to take over everything. You know, and the way I see that is it was like the last push from the devil to
Mm.
take back what all the ground that Christendom had taken.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because Christianity's never really been a forceful religion.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
not the way it works.
Yeah.
Now, yes, the Catholic Church and they took advantage of people and made them pay for sins, and because it's run by humans. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was running a religion, that sounds like a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, damn, we want to build another cathedral. How am I going to pay for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but the the church always fights against it. That's why we've had so many different splits,
Mm-hmm.
because people just disagree, and then they start another denomination.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we might be able to go. We might go through that one day.
Yeah.
I could go through
The
a whole deep
history of
dive.
that is really
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. And then I'm saying too, we might even go through a whole deep dive on denominations,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people don't even understand why the denomination split and
Yeah.
what's the difference between it. And a lot of it is very simple stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So if you're interested in some of these topics, put them in the comments.
Yeah.
Which
Let us
which
know.
videos you want me to do next? You know,
Mm-hmm.
which ones you want me to go through next. But like how you baptize.
Mm-hmm.
Does baptize bring salvation?
Mm-hmm.
That in just those two things, you have like 30 different denominations.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? And then is Jesus deity? Is Jesus deity and all man?
Mm-hmm.
Was Jesus just a part of the Father here on earth?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all these different, this creates more denominations.
Mm-hmm. The Trinity. I didn't know some people didn't believe in the Trinity.
Yeah, so there's a whole oneness movement.
Yeah.
You know, even within the Catholic Church, everybody says the Catholic Church, like the Catholic Church, you have Vatican I, you have Vatican II, you have Vatican III, you have different groups within it. You know, there's Vatican I doesn't even recognize the Pope.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah.
I didn't even know that there was
Yeah, and
all of
they
that.
do their mass in Spanish and in Latin, and they face the cross and not face the people.
Oh.
Yeah, there's one here in town that does it,
Oh.
and they hate the Pope.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, it's really
Especially this Pope or all popes, because this
all
Pope's
popes.
wildin'.
Yeah, this Pope's crazy because
It's been weird.
this Pope, he's the first ever what is it called? Jesuit
Mm.
Pope. So it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Jesuits are like their whole creed is anti Protestant. Their whole creation is to kill and to persecute Protestants.
Jeez.
That's
hardcore.
Yeah, you can go read their creed.
The thing that really bothered me during COVID, I had friends that I had, like in our community, everybody's Catholic, you know, and I had friends
Puro
that,
Latinos.
yes, I had friends that are Catholic and they did not want to get vaccinated. They did not. They were very adamant about it. And then the Pope came out and said, you need to get vaccinated. And then they were in this like
Moral dilemma.
Yeah, because they know in their hearts they shouldn't do it. But their religious leader is telling them they need to do it. And then they were forcing it in the churches here. Mm-hmm. You had to wear a mask. Even at my grandpa's funeral at the beginning of this year, a lot of people were masked. And it was really weird. It was like, why? They do not work. But she decided to get vaxxed and she was pregnant. And she regretted it the whole time. And thank God her baby's fine. Thank God everything's okay. But she was like terrified the whole pregnancy. And she regretted it. And she was in this headspace of, I know I shouldn't do this, but the Pope is telling me I need to, and if I don't, that's bad. And I didn't like that. That like solidified to me even more. There's something off with all of that. for your religion to tell you have to do something that is wrong in your soul.
Yeah. Yeah, you won't see a lot of those things. You won't see a lot of those things like people forcing their opinions on other people, and in normal, denominational, they won't be like, hey, you have to get vaxxed or you shouldn't get vaxxed or whatever, right? So it's just a matter of what you believe.
Yeah.
But because we don't have a lot of the other Protestant churches. Protestant just really means protest. So it's a protest against the Catholic Church. So all Protestants. So there's and everybody says the Catholic is the first church. It's not, because you also have the Orthodox. The Orthodox Church pulls their ties all the way back to the different creeds, the Nicene creeds and stuff like that as well.
So crazy.
So they have Orthodox churches that are some of the oldest churches in the world.
Yeah.
Still.
Listening or understanding the history of where everything came from, I started thinking about that recently because of Easter. Because what Easter is nowadays definitely is not what Easter was in the beginning, in the middle, and up until now. Like the name Easter, the eggs, the bunnies, like all of that is so pagan. And it's just, I was thinking about it and wanting to learn more of the history and started looking up different things and how we talked about this, how they used to celebrate and like what should we do to celebrate? Because I call it Resurrection Sunday. I don't even want to call it Easter because of that goddess. And in Hispanic culture, we make cascarones, which are eggs that you dye, and then you get all the yolk out, and then you dry them out, and you put confetti
in it,
and you crack them on your head, and it's so much fun.
Is that a Latino thing?
I think so.
I didn't know.
I didn't know. I posted it.
I always thought everybody did that.
I did too. They don't. I posted it on Instagram years ago, and all these white people from all over were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And so talking back and forth, they will hard boil eggs and then dye them and then hide them, and then the kids pick them up and then they eat them later. I like the way we do it better. Isn't that weird?
That's what the original tradition was?
I don't know. I just know that that's what a lot of white people do.
White people do hard-boiled eggs? Wow.
Yeah. And then it was funny too. Learning things. And it was so funny too because I remember looking at all these magazines talking about natural dyes. And I'm like, why do you care about a natural dye for this? Like, we're not eating it. You're just cracking it on somebody's head. No, it's
people are eating
because they are eating it. Imagine, like, I don't even keep track of all the eggs that we leave out. Could you imagine hard-boiled eggs just
rotting in your backyard?
Your dog's finding it, bring it inside.
They probably eat it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing. I think it's a Hispanic thing.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's very strange.
Yeah. Let us know how you guys do the eggs.
Yeah. So we'll like, so, and then you put like you tape the little, like, so you crack the tip of the egg, right?
Yeah. So when you eat it.
And then you save the little shell.
Yeah.
And then, then you put the little, like, almost like it's like the paper that you put in bags.
Yeah, the tissue paper. Yeah. You'll cut out tissue paper.
And then you just tape it inside, and then you have all the paper confetti inside of it.
We'll put a picture up so you guys can see what we're talking about. It probably sounds crazy.
So random.
It's so fun. And then you hide all the eggs, and then the kids run out and get them. And then after the kids get all the eggs, then they run around and crack the eggs on everybody's heads.
And then your girl, the little one, she came up to me. She's like, Mr. Beck.
Why do you make her sound like she has an accent?
She talks like that. She talks like, Mr. Beck.
Excuse me, Mr.
She has a funny way of talking.
She does. She says things cute.
And then she's like, can you bend down here? And I was like, no.
Because she wanted to crack an egg on your head.
And I was like, no. And she's like, I'm not gonna do anything. And I was like, yeah, you are. And she's like, no.
I don't know what you're
and
talking
she didn't give up. She was just following me around the backyard. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do it.
You're like,
because she can't reach me.
Yeah.
She can't reach me. I'm like off limits. She
She's
can't.
like 3 feet
Yeah,
tall.
she would meet like she could probably with her arm like right there. And so
That is so funny.
it was just funny. She was like, I want to do it. And I was like, and she was very, she got sad. She was like, oh, I can't
Oh,
do it. I can't crack it on Mr. Beck.
Mr. Beck.
Yeah. She's not like, yeah, maybe it does sound like a
You're
Spanish.
putting like a hardcore Mexican accent on it.
I'm just trying to make her sound like a little girl.
Yeah, it's not
I don't
working.
know.
But I like that better. That's
Yeah.
how Arya sounds. I'm down.
Yeah. She's like the like, I'm not gonna say it.
Uh-oh. You say everything. For you not to say this is
It's too bad.
okay.
Yeah, so definitely I am very happy that Tucker Carlson is out.
Has he made a statement?
I haven't seen a statement yet.
Okay. I'm interested to see what he says.
Yeah. But he'll be picked up,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Or he'll do his own thing.
He'll go on the Daily Wire.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure that's where he's going to go. Because in the Daily Wire, he's going to make twice as much money.
Mm-hmm. And he'll be free to say whatever he needs to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he'll have a big network, you know what I mean? And then the Daily Wire will become the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
It will become the biggest network. It'll become bigger than Fox and CNN combined.
One thing that I like that he did is he recently admitted that he was wrong about the Iraq war. Did you hear that? I don't know. He was in a interview with somebody, and they were asking him questions about maybe regrets or what. I don't remember. But he was like, "Well, yeah, the Iraq war. I look back at things that I've said, and I'm embarrassed. Like, I can't believe he was basically like a shill for the Iraq war. Like he was down, and especially after in the beginning, we were all down.
I never was.
You're like, absolutely not. Yeah.
Well,
because we were fed all these lies.
Yeah.
This whole story, and we see this tragic thing happen.
Yeah. I remember I was listening to Rush Limbaugh at the time.
What did Rush say? Because I was listening. I was 8th grade.
Rush was definitely pro.
Yes.
Rush, and then you had.
I think all Republicans were. Hannity was. I used to really like Hannity.
You had Hannity, and then you had
Mark Levin.
And what was the other guy? The guy that got canceled because he was like doing sexual things with his secretaries and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
O'Reilly.
Bill O'Reilly.
Remember Bill O'Reilly?
Yes. Yep. He was on TV.
Yeah. All of them were like big on the radio.
Yeah. I loved Rush.
Yeah. The Iraq war was so bad. Mm-hmm. There's a whole conspiracy with the Iraq war that the reason they did the Iraq war was so that they could find all the artifacts. Because Iraq is like ground
ancient.
Zero from where civilization started.
Yes.
And so they just pillaged their museums and their archives and people's artifacts and just stole all of the wealth. I know even soldiers came back with
things from palaces.
Rugs and gold trinkets.
I know a couple. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And pictures of being in these huge palaces and different things. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't even realize how much wealth Iraq had. Yeah. And then now they're just poverty stricken. It's the same thing that happened to all these different countries. Mm-hmm. We just go in there and just bomb them to oblivion. I had a conversation with a guy this weekend. I was doing track. Mm-hmm. And one of the parents was talking about war and how war increases the economy.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, well, it doesn't. And he goes, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, you don't understand the broken window fallacy. And he goes, well, what's that? And I was like, well, and this dude's a doctor.
Mm-hmm. You always hear that it does, that it ramps up.
That's what they teach you in school.
Yeah.
That's what they teach you in school. That's what they teach you in economics in college. Mm-hmm. But it's all Keynesian economics. So Keynesian economics is all about debt-based economy,
finite amount of resources.
Fractional monetary system, the velocity of money, all these things, right? And but it's all false. It's all fake. It's all phony. So the real school of thought is the Austrian economics school of economics. Sound money, proper trade, saving your wealth. So let me give you an example. If your grandparents had saved 10% of their money until they retired, just saved it, put it in a tin box under their bed, they would have lost a ton of money. If they would have handed that down to your dad, and then your dad would have handed it down to you, and you would have done the same thing, you would have had nothing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest reason why Keynesian economics doesn't work. Because it forces you to put your money at risk.
Okay.
You should be able to put your money in a tin can under your bed and come back 100 years later and it'll still be worth the same amount of money.
But it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Because we're all Keynesians now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we're in a Keynesian economic system. Now, if you would have done the same thing and you would have put gold and silver under your bed, you would have been better off, right? Because the problem is there's no counterparty risk. Okay, if you put your money even in the stock market, you have counterparty risk. That stock can go to zero.
Yeah.
You put your money into somebody else's business. You put your money, like all these different things, there's counterparty risk. Gold and silver, there's no counterparty risk. Physical gold and silver, there's no counterparty risk.
Yeah.
That's why it should be a cornerstone of everybody's investment portfolio, because there's no counterparty. So in Austrian economics, there's this thing called the broken window fallacy. So think about it this way. Let's say you own your restaurant. Okay, she had a restaurant back in the day. What was the restaurant called?
Papa Pita.
Papa Pita. And let's say some kid came by at Papa Pita and threw a rock through your window.
Okay.
Now you would have to cover this window now. Okay. So you would go to the yellow pages. Kids are like, what's yellow pages?
What does that mean?
You go to Google and search for a window.
You just aged yourself.
Yeah, search for a commercial window installer or something. Call them up, come over, get a couple quotes, order a new window, and it would have to be immediate because you can't have a business and you can't close. How are you gonna even close? You're gonna have to board it up or something.
Yeah.
So, because you can go in there and steal a lot of expensive stuff.
Heck yeah.
So they come, you get a quote, you order a window. Now the window guy has a business. So he's now going to have to go back to the distributor that he gets it from, order another window. The distributors is going to have to come and buy more supplies, more tools, more employees. And then the supplier and the material maker is going to have to get more materials and, equipment to take, rock and turn it into glass, right? And then, the supplier that makes the equipment has to go buy more equipment and more stuff. So it's just, it goes on into infinity, right? And that's where, this is how Keynesians think that war produces wealth. Because you drop a bomb and now you have to rebuild the whole country, and then you build workers and you have to get supplies and all that stuff, right? But the problem is that you have a broken window that you didn't have before. The wealth of your window is destroyed. See what I'm saying? And you had money that now is destroyed because you're buying something that you already had.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I had that and I shouldn't have needed to fix that.
Exactly. You would have spent your money on something else.
Yes.
And it would have attributed to everything else. It would have went down the cycle. Like you could have bought a hand purse.
Yes. My favorite.
Yeah. I know it. So it's the same thing with bombs. Bombs don't produce any wealth. They don't go like this.
Yeah, they derail what was actually happening.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yep.
So they make, it's not that they make the economy better. They make the war machine better. That's
Yeah.
it. They just help fund that and
Yeah.
make that go on.
Because it destroys wealth.
Yeah.
Like, think about it this way.
Ugh. Yeah.
Think about like you have a house in Germany and it's like they destroy it into rubble, and now you have to rebuild this house.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not gaining anything.
You're so
Okay.
right. I remember hearing that and thinking, okay, because when I first heard that was during 9/11, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
in eighth grade. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just soaking up all the stuff. I don't understand it,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't understand why. I was just like, yeah, that makes sense because you said it, you know?
It's like it's like if your older sister went into the army
Mm-hmm.
and then she went over to war and she died,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh, I guess we have to make more people,
Yeah.
thinking that that's a net gain. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's not. Whoa.
Or
Yes.
she goes over there and she gets injured,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now for the rest of her life she's dependent on the government.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And she's less productive,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So it's all about continuing everything within the circle of the economy without destroying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it a step further.
Okay.
The most destructive thing to this mechanism called the economy is government.
Mm.
Because government takes
Mm-hmm.
and destroys, but it
Yeah.
produces nothing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, except
It
for
doesn't
headaches.
it doesn't put stuff in the economy.
Yeah.
It just takes it out and then it destroys it.
Yeah.
Like if I went down to the city hall and I went and I pulled everybody's job
Mm-hmm.
and got a description of this. And I have friends that work at City Hall. Like, I understand, but just follow me with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, let's look at all your jobs. Let's look at all of the stuff that you do and all the money that you guys make, and then the building to house them and air condition them
Mm-hmm.
and all of this stuff. Okay. And we distill it down to things that actually produce something.
Mm-hmm.
It will be like a 1/10 of 1%
Yeah.
of everybody there produces any economic benefit
Mm-hmm.
to the economy.
Yeah.
Which would be like fixing the roads,
Mm-hmm.
removing trash,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And um, like you could say protecting records,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe settling lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, like maybe the police force,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The fire department,
Yeah.
right? But other than that, like 99% of all these people are all they're doing is they have all these laws that they're making you jump through
Mm-hmm.
to be able to create
That.
this commerce
Yeah.
that's producing money for everybody.
Yeah.
And a lot of it can be handled by the private sector.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you have a problem in the private sector,
Mm-hmm.
then you go to this thing called government and you ask it, hey, these people over here are doing things that are not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like, oh, yeah, maybe we should take more money from them.
Yeah.
And that's all they do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, a lot of things can be handled just by a simple law.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Benjamin Franklin said at one time, he says, government is a necessary evil. It's inherently evil, but it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to understand that the bigger this gets compared to this, the more destructive it is.
Exactly. You need to have that balance. Yeah.
And that's the problem in El Paso,
Mm-hmm.
is that the economy is probably smaller than the government,
Mm-hmm. I
right?
think the government's one of the biggest
It's the biggest
employers
employer in El
in
Paso.
El Paso. Yeah.
It's like Walmart, and then like the school district, which is a taxing entity,
Mm-hmm.
and
The
then
electric company.
yeah, and then you have the city of El Paso,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have like that's literally what industry is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you have retail, right?
Yeah.
Like Walmart jobs,
Yeah.
and then you have all government jobs.
Yeah. I used to work for the HR department
Hmm.
at City Hall. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big waste of time.
It was. It was crazy. I was a high schooler, so I'd go work there half day. And there was this man who was a top dog. I don't remember who he was. I don't remember. But he got trained and was paid over $100,000 because he knew how to use this one system. And he would have me and the other kids that worked at high school that
Do
worked
it.
there. Yeah, he had us do it. He had us running all those numbers and doing all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was this one lady named Josie. She was an older lady, and she came in one day and she was like, you guys are being used." And we were like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "He gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this job, and you're doing it for him." And she was yelling at us. And we're like, "Josie, I'm a kid. I'm just doing what I'm told. Like, what do you mean?" But yeah, it's just all like there were so many people that were redundant, even in the HR department.
There's two big examples I'll give you, and then we'll close. One, Elon Musk and Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
He
80%.
he fired 80% of them,
Ha.
and they're still like they're more efficient now.
Yes.
Yeah, and
100%.
he
Yeah.
he brought in a bunch of chinos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you ever see that video of him?
No.
No, you should see it. Like he fired all the Karens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the
Poor Karens.
like, oh no, where's my sushi
Ugh.
vegan wraps?
Ugh.
You know what I mean, or whatever.
Did you see those day in the life of it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Ugh, cringe.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, drinking mojitos here at Twitter, and they didn't work 1 minute.
Yeah.
Like, what work did you do today?
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and then you see Elon Musk, and he's there, and he's with like 15 chinito men, that just graduated from MIT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they're like,
They're killing the game.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Getting stuff done.
okay, so that's a good example.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. And the problem with the government is you can't fire anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Can't fire anybody.
Mm-mm.
Let me give you an example. So you remember, I don't know, you're not old enough, but when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
we had trash men
Mm-hmm.
that would come and they would hang on the back of the trash
Yeah,
truck,
I remember
right?
seeing that.
And then they would jump out of the truck and grab those heavy trash cans, those
Mm-hmm.
really steel trash cans.
Yeah.
You ever tried to pick one of those up?
No.
It's almost impossible.
Oh no.
And I'm a strong guy. and they would throw the trash in the trash can, and then they would put the trash down, and then they would go down the street.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a driver and you had two dudes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they created these new trash machines and the trash truck.
Yeah.
Where it grabs like the little arm, right? And then it goes, and it like shakes it, and then it puts it down.
Yeah.
And then it moves out and does the same thing, right?
Yeah.
One dude can do the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's cameras and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
it's technology. But when they bought all these trucks and they replaced all of our trash cans,
Mm-hmm.
do you think they fired one person?
Oh, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they can't.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what did they have them do? They created the environmental services.
Oh, so they just filtered them into a new
Yeah, and
job.
then they gave them like white trucks and badges, and now they go around finding people with high weeds in their grass and like a broken down truck in their yard or something. You know what I mean? So they're like the code compliance police.
Mm-hmm.
And they have like this fake badge. You know what I mean?
I'm code compliance.
I remember one time, the guy was trying to give me a hard time about something, and I told him, I said, "Bro, you're not a police officer."
Oh.
I said, "You don't even have a gun."
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna walk away now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, and I was like, "Stop acting like you're a police officer."
What do you say to that?
And he was like,
You're right.
yeah. Dude, you have, it's like the security guard at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got a badge, but
Mm-hmm.
that's like his company logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
it
not.
doesn't mean anything.
It's not a badge. You're
Yeah.
not a peace officer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to dog people that are doing that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, dude, you can get into trouble thinking you're something that you're not.
100%. And that type of thing really goes to people's heads too.
Oh yeah.
This like power that they think they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Chill.
no, you're not. I'm not pulling over.
Yeah.
If you put your little orange
Mm-hmm.
lights on. You know what I mean? There's a reason they don't allow you to put red, white, and blue lights on.
Yeah. Those are specific. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
You know, so I don't know. That's what I would say is that if we do start a change in our government,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that we should really, really look at is what is the bare minimum amount of things we want our government to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest we can deal with in each other
Mm-hmm.
through either legal ramifications or agreements,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And let's take responsibility
Mm-hmm.
for our own lives
Yeah. Personal responsibility.
rather than putting it all on government.
Yes.
I would trust you more than I trust the government forcing you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
It was a fun episode. I enjoy going down these rabbit holes. I hope you guys learned something.
Yeah.
You know,
I did.
Yeah, you liked it?
Yeah.
If you like this content, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Give us comments on things you want us to talk about or questions that you had about these issues. I'll try and answer them in the next episode.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.